It's Friday. You know what time it is. Frontrunner Podcast Collective is back on the air. I am your humble host, Vince. And on today's podcast, we are going to be discussing just all of the playoffs, every last bit of it. And then what we're going to hit you with is we're going to hit you with a bunch of NBA draft, because I feel that we have just been negligent on our duties as a podcast to get you enough information on what's going on in the draft. So we got some exciting news about our draft board and how that's going to work out next week and how it's going to tie into the Tuesday podcast. So keep it locked here. I will let you know as we get closer and closer to that segment. But we have to start off in two places. One, I want to kind of give you a little peek behind the curtain, so to speak, in regards to the podcast. One reason and one reason only. Our job is to not just entertain you and to inform you. The other part of our job, the other part of the thing that we love to do, is to hopefully give you a little bit piece of us, right? A little bit of piece of what we got going on. So it has been over a week now since I stopped smoking. I, as far as the actual want to smoke, don't have that, which is kind of cool. Does it make me a cranky person? Probably, yeah. I will not sit here and disallow that as conjecture. It definitely has been. My hope is that I haven't been as difficult as I possibly could have been. I'm a pretty difficult person to begin with, and so I don't need to be more difficult than what I have been. So with that being said, what have I done to kind of like peruse the time and allow the time to go past? One, we got a lot more writing done. A lot more writing done. Two, the other thing is that Soraya, myself, and the crew, as we are starting to get a little bit bigger here, and the voices in the room are multiple, we have discussed what we're trying to do for the summertime. And you say, well, what does that mean? Well, when there's no basketball going on, what are we going to talk about? And what we're going to talk about is two things. First, obviously the draft. That's why this is important. That's why we need to get you guys, ourselves, familiar with some of the other names that are in this draft class. But we will be talking about Cougar Flag in this podcast for sure. Now, I have a couple other things that I need to talk about, and this kind of just leads to the open. We're not going to even pretend that we know what's going on. I know we're supposed to sit here to be basketball minds, be the whole X's and O's crew. I know y'all tune in for some of the observations that we get from watching games and what have you. And you want some of that front office insight that we can give you, that we have somebody on staff that helps us out with that. Shouts out to Vance. Thank you so much for what you do, sir. But let's keep it super real. This league is in absolute flux right now. Okay, everything is upside down. Freaky Friday, whatever you want to say. We got 6 seeds, 7 seeds, up 2-0. We got just pandemonium. People winning on home courts that they don't have any business winning on. So, I am going to say this, and I'm going to say this one time. Shout out to Sam Darnold of the USC Trojans, and also of now who? The Seattle Seahawks. I feel like we're seeing ghosts right now. I feel like we're seeing ghosts, and the entire NBA looks like it's seeing ghosts as well. Steph Curry has a hamstring injury. There are people out here reporting that Steph is going to be out. Verified outlets are reporting that he's going to be out a week. I don't know how many 37-year-olds you know that run as much as Steph does, but I think a week is being very optimistic in what his return will be. Now, you can say, oh, well, Vince, you're not a doctor. I am 100% not a doctor. You are correct. Now, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so my credentials as a physician are now cleared with that. And what I'm telling you, as somebody who has had hamstring injuries in the past and whatever, when I was in better shape, it does not take a week. Now you can say, well, it's a slight strain, whatever. Anytime there is some sort of strain, there's a tear. You can say whatever you want, it's a tear. If there's a tear, that means there's inflammation, there's blood going into it, whatever. The swelling has to come down, all that has to do. Well, they have modern medicine, they have stem machines and whatever to kind of help that along. 100%. Again, Steph is 37 years old. This is not a 23-year-old Steph. This is not a 28-year-old Steph. This is a 37-year-old Steph with a bunch of miles on the odometer. So, I don't know what people are doing, but y'all need to stop lying. Y'all need to stop lying to people. I'm trying to tell you right now. Now, if you want to go ahead and call it engagement dressed up as news, you can go ahead and do so. You think Steve Kerr is smiling post-game if Steph timeline is uncertain? You think Steph is shooting around post-practice if he has a grade 2 strain? Nah. But you see a little limp and immediately you grab the megaphone. Okay. Now, meanwhile, we will get to the Boston and the Cleveland of this. Now, at this point in time, because it is Friday, and you say, well, Vince, when are you doing this podcast? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. And the reason why I'm going to tell you right now is because we will give you a live update on what's going on in the games. Right now, Cleveland, who is down 0-2, is up 109-95 right now in Indianapolis. I know Pat McAfee must be losing his damn mind right now because he thought the boys were going to go ahead and smash the Cleveland Cavaliers, but that is not the case. You know why that's not the case? Because Garland is playing, Evan Mobley is playing, and DeAndre Hunter is also playing. They're all three playing. And these are guys that were out in game 2. That makes a significant difference in who is going to win in this series or what have you. And I will just say this. I don't like that you miss game 2. Now, if you come back and you win game 4 and tie this series up, cool. And then we'll see where the chips fly with the last 3 games of the season. But there are going to be some people who are going to question what happened in game 2. Now, I understand that, we are in a different day and age, and they're not wearing Chuck Taylor Converses anymore that made out of canvas and, very, very soft materials and things of that nature. They have a lot of things that help them. I understand all these things. But I will tell you, missing a playoff game, to me, unless you are absolutely about to die, cardinal sin. Now, you can call me old. You can call me not understanding what load management means and why do we have these people on staff. Well, here's the deal. Here's why I have pushback on that. And you can say I'm old. You say whatever it is that you want to say about me. We got 16 games to win. For glory. For glory they can never take away from us. That ring is the thing. We're playing for the chip, right? That's what the kids call it. And the one thing that we always talk about in these GOAT discussions is how many rings does somebody have? How many successful seasons had this person have and all this sort of thing. But guess what? If for some reason you're not playing, you don't even get the capability of being able to get that ring. So I understand new day and age. I understand the role of AAU basketball. I understand that the mentality is different and you don't have to drag yourself out there because the money is so great and you are considered a valued asset and all those type of things. But the one time that it needs not to be that is the playoffs. I don't know how much clearer I need to put that. And I really hope I don't get a bunch of pushback on that, because the whole point of the 82 game long ass season that people say we cannot change and we all get pissed off about and we all sit here and have a bunch of consternation about, these 16, the NBA playoffs, these games that are so hyper competitive, that are so close, that they're allowing so much more physicality in these games that they did the entire season. These matter more. The league has told us this. The TV partners have told us this. The people who pay for the commercials, the ad money that comes in, that tells us that these games are more important. So if that's the case, we're going to need y'all to play. So it's good on Evan Mobley and good on DeAndre Hunter and Darius Garland to play in game 3. But if they end up losing this series, we will all go back to game 2. We will all go back to that, and we will be asking some hard-hitting questions on why was load management even a thought process in a playoff series? Food for thought. Oh, and by the way, Phoenix is still doing Phoenix things. You know, I know that they're not in the playoffs, and we're kind of concentrating on the playoffs and draft, but when Phoenix does something, we kind of need to go ahead and ask questions. And I think I will. One, who is Brian Gregory? He is now the new VP of player personnel for the Phoenix Suns. And he will be in charge of making the Kevin Durant trade. And obviously doing whatever song and dance he needs to do to appease one Devin Booker to stay around in the Valley of the Sun. So good luck, Brian, on your new gig as the Phoenix Suns VP of player personnel. But also it brings me to another point. I think we talked about on this podcast, I want to say a week ago, we talked about James Jones and the job that he did before the Matt Ishbia of it all in Phoenix. And the team that he put together, you know, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, obviously. And to see that team, and now to see this team now, it's such a far cry. And we're starting to understand that, you know, giving up picks and trying to put stars together with other stars and how expensive it is and how limiting and punitive some of the restrictions are. I think we're going to have a shift in how people ideology and philosophy in basketball. I think we're trying to figure out who are the like superstar role players, and maybe we can get 2 of those and a star, and hopefully with depth and the star and the 2 role players who are like balls to the wall, just concrete foundational pieces. Maybe that's the new way of doing it. Everybody's looking for a marginal victory somewhere. We got to win incrementally. I wonder if the new trend is get like the best superstar you can possibly get, a real game changer. You're going to pay $70 million for that dude. 70. I said 7-0. Understand the new reality of basketball. And then can we get two good role players? And then depth around those people. Might be a different type of build, but we'll see. We'll see if we're trying to create like the 2004 Detroit Pistons or not. All right, let's get on to the show. Today we have a lot going on. And I want to start off with a couple other things we need to get to. And it's more on what has gone on over these first couple games of the second round. The league's tempo has changed. And now the power dynamic, we're in a parity era now. Home crowds are loud, but the scoreboard doesn't care. And the young squads, they're not just showing up, they're showing out. Remember when home court used to mean something in the NBA? Oh, you don't want to go to Utah. Oh, you don't want to go to Portland. Remember the Cow Palace in Sacramento? That place was rocking all the time. People talk about how Oracle, and they actually call it, they used to call it Roracle because it used to roar. San Antonio back in the heyday when Tim Duncan was down there. And people have always talked about how magical Madison Square Garden is, it would be when a playoff series got there, and we will find out in the next couple of days because we are about to witness the eruption from Manhattan. And we'll get to that story as we go on. But nowadays, what is going on? It's like you had a higher seed and you had the edge, it was guaranteed. That's all dead now. These kids, these players, they don't care. This year's playoffs aren't about who's at home. They're about who can match the pace, stay poised, and hit shots under pressure, regardless of the zip code. We're living in the NBA parity now. This is the new league. This is the new league order. The beats changed. Old favorites look shook. And young squads are just dancing in your living room. And drinking your beer and probably dancing with your girl. All bad. The Celtics. I am probably never going back to Boston ever again. The Celtics have home court, and they basically lost both games there. They looked completely inept. They get leads, and they just squander them. The Knicks have won 2 games in Boston. Boston in the fourth quarter have a net rating of minus 27. I want you to understand that. This is the defending, reigning champions of the NBA. You have your squad. You have the 2 guys who are supposedly, and we're going to get to the draft later, and the depth of the wings in this draft is incredible. But people tell me that the most valuable piece, the most coveted piece in the NBA is the wing. You know why? Because they have the ball, they can handle the rock, and they're usually the ones who can get the most production because they can do inside actions, obviously, and they can shoot it from the outside. That's why the wings are so important. Guards, obviously, when you think of a guard, they're a little bit smaller, a little bit more diminutive. They can't take the pounding. When you look at a prototypical wing, right? Let's throw Jason Tatum into the mix. This guy is 6'9" at least. I think he's more like 6'10", 6'11", but I'm not going to get into all the semantics. He's 6'9", well built, 235 at least, right? He should be able to, with his handle, with his expert handle, his size, strength, speed, should be able to get into the lane, absorb some punishment, and make a shot. Or get fouled. One of the two. How come I don't see nobody going to the hole that's wearing a Shamrock uniform? No one? You got Jalen Brunson out here at 5'11", getting to wherever he wants to go in the paint? How is this even possible? Jaylen Brown looks like a shell of himself. And now they're down 2-0. Boston's system is glitching like bad Wi-Fi signal. They didn't even lose. They didn't even lose on their court. They got undressed on their court. They got undressed by a 5'11" Smurf. Don't talk to me about the Villanova Knicks. Don't talk to me about all of this. We question Mikal Bridges all season. We question Tom Thibodeau's offensive philosophy towards the end of the season. What was this going to look like? Guess what? We don't have to worry about that. There's no cares in the world. There. OG Anunoby is doing the things that we saw towards the end of the year when Jalen Brunson was out. He is offensive creating. He is being aggressive going to the hole. He is kicking it out to shooters when he doesn't have a shot. He's understanding time, space, and his own aggression and where that lies. Mikal Bridges, who we've been waiting on all season, struggled all season. The defense that we saw in Phoenix is back. The on-ball creation that we saw in Brooklyn like the first year before the Cam Thomas takeover happened is back. And the Knicks look great. And now, here's what Boston has said. We have generated good looks. And if you look at some of the advanced metrics, it says that the looks that they've gotten, they got 45 good 3-point looks. That's fantastic. Fantastic that you got 45 good looks. You shot 60 of these bad boys, and you only hit 15. Now, I'm not a math wizard. I do know this, though. That's 25%, and I have... Hey, even on grading on the curve, 25% is horrible. I don't care how many of these things you shoot. If you're only shooting 25%, go to the hole. Go to the rim. Get fouled. Stop this momentum. Stop the run. I don't understand. Are you compromised? Okay, let's get to the part about Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis is dealing with an injury, or not an injury, he's dealing with an illness. I'm so sorry. I misspoke when I said that. He's dealing with an illness that currently nobody understands. Modern medicine. Now, this is a multi-million-dollar player playing for a multi-billion-dollar team, and nobody can figure out if he's got the flu, long COVID, some sort of variant of bird flu or whatever. I don't know. No one knows what this man has. All we know is that he's super fatigued. He can't get enough sleep. It sounds like mono, and they have ruled out mono. Good luck. Good luck to the Celtics. They will need it because they're going into what I would perceive as a hornet's nest, and they've never seen what they're about to see because the New York area has been starving for the Knicks to be good in basketball. We got a little taste of it last year, and those crowds were electric. Can you imagine what those crowds are going to look like when they honestly believe that they have a shot to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and then also play in the NBA Finals? Do you understand what this is going to mean to New York City? It's going to be electric. It's going to be pandemonium, and I cannot wait to see the venue, the people, just the vibe, the energy. Is going to be crazy. Can't wait to see it. Now, the Cavs. We talked about them a little bit, right? Yo, so I don't know if Kenny Atkinson knows this, but we're in the playoffs now, and it's not an 82 game slog. It's a sprint to 16 victories, my guy. So you know. Okay, first of all, the Pacers are averaging 19 points in fast break. We got terribleness all over the place because everybody's not playing for Cleveland. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how much depth we've been talking about with Cleveland. You can't have 3 people out and expect to win basketball games, especially high-level basketball games in the NBA playoffs. I'm not going to even talk about Ty Jerome. I'm not going to talk about, Strus could have stepped up and this guy. They're not supposed to be there. And what I mean by that is that in the role that they were forced to be in, right? They were forced into a role that is uncomfortable and unnatural to them. They are not the second option on anybody's team. But yet that was their job description for game 2. So if you're missing 3 players and 2 of them are starters and then the third person is basically like your 6th man, this is literally 3/6 of your top 6. This is half your team. Usually in the NBA playoffs, you're playing with 8. So we're talking about what, 44% of your squad missing? Pretty big variant there. Tyrese Halliburton has been incredible. He has taken advantage of the situation, and you can go ahead and continue to chant overrated all you want, but he's going to continue to bust your ass. That's what he's done to Cleveland the whole time. Home court did not help Cleveland because Indy never slowed down long enough for them to even hear the crowd. Now, our favorite series that we love is the OKC Denver series, and we're going to get to that. It is now 1-1 in that series. OKC demolished. They were the one team that was the high seed that said, hold on, whoa. Wait 1 second. Are you trying to tell me that all of a sudden these 6 seeds and these 5 seeds and all this is going to just start taking over? Nah, we can't let that happen. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is still Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he is still basically chilling, and he understands that he is going to win an MVP, and he led his team to victory, and they blew out Denver. They said, listen, you are not supposed to be on the court with us, and that is exactly what happened. We had Michael Porter Jr. kind of go back, revert to what he was. Joker did his thing. Westbrook had a hell of a game in game 2. Still was for naught. Now, the sad thing, Bay Area. Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask a real serious question. Before I mean, we talked about a lot of things, but I am so sorry. I was so neglectful on this part. Listen, if you're listening to my podcast, I am sure that you listen to other NBA podcasts. For my friends out there with Twitter accounts and for my friends out there that have Instagram and what have you, I need for you to send the well wishes to one Bill Simmons. So once you listen to this podcast, I want you to send like hashtag get well soon Bill, or hang in there Bill, hashtag hang in there BS. That sounds good. I like that part. Maybe a little, maybe one of his close personal friends can do a wellness check, you know, because if the Celtics are down 2-0 to the Knicks, I have no idea what Bill Simmons' mental capacity is right now. It probably is not great. We probably need to go ahead and do a wellness check on Bill Simmons right now. Shouts out also to Pat McAfee's Boston Connor, who's also suffering right now through this incredible, painful series where the Boston Celtics are down 2-0 to the New York Knicks. Now, a person who's doing very well, who's living life in the most comfortable way possible, is our guy, Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller, who is a New York Knicks fan. Now, we know about Spike. Okay, we know about Tracy Morgan. You know what I'm saying? These are long-standing New York Knicks fans. I don't never worry about those guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't never worry about Spike. I don't worry about Tracy. Because they get it in. They get it in. And they, whether the Knicks lose or win, they going to be all right. But Ben Stiller is living life right now. 2-0, going back to Madison Square Garden. I am a listener to the, hey, I'm a listener to the Bill Simmons podcast. I put my hand up. I listen. Sunday, I will be listening because I want to hear what the hell he got to say about that team. Okay, now, the thing that I want to get to about Steph and Golden State is that no matter what goes on, no matter how this goes, they've come to the end. Okay? Golden State, we can talk about veteran leadership. We can talk about moxie. We can talk about just the playoff crucible and how they've been forged in the fire this whole time. The thing that is absolutely true is that when they had Steph, they were a decent offensive team. Without Steph, their numbers plummet to a team that would be, if you took Steph out from the regular season, the Golden State Warriors offense would be towards the bottom of the league. And it would be like, not just towards the bottom, it'd be like with the real heavy lottery teams, like the teams that won 16 and 17 games the whole year. That's how important Steph is to the Golden State Warriors. And now we're talking about we don't have him, and everybody's like, we just assume that Jimmy Butler is going to be playoff Jimmy. He is going to just he's going to put the Warriors on his back along with Draymond Green, which we will get to one moment. But let me finish this out with Jimmy. Jimmy has said on many occasions recently and throughout his time with the Warriors, Steph Curry is Batman and I am Robin. There's been variations and funny things said with Buddy Hield talking about he's Batman and actually Jimmy Butler is Alfred, all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I give this analogy. Steph Curry is not just a star. He's a son of a solar system, right? And then the planets revolve around him. If you don't have the sun in your solar system, you don't have a solar system. Okay? There's no Earth without a sun. Okay? There's no moon. We don't have Mars. We ain't got no Venus, Uranus, sorry, Saturn with your rings, whatevs. Pluto, you're not even a planet anymore, so who cares about you? Supposedly, I don't know. I thought you were always a planet. Who knew? But if Steph is out, this is over. This is a wrap. And he's out. So we can start talking about off-season moves with the Golden State Warriors. We can start talking about what they have is draft capital. We can talk about the future of Jonathan Kuminga, because he is not going to be with the Golden State Warriors much longer. Now, I've been wrong about some things. I thought Boston was going to take care of business against the Knicks. I was wrong. I thought Cleveland had learned his lessons over the last couple of years, and I was wrong about that. OKC is still making me look good, which is great. I thought the Minnesota Timberwolves Golden State thing was a toss-up no matter what, but now that Steph is out, this is a wrap. All right, let's get into a couple other things before we get up out here. We want to talk about some of these games, like fully. Let's get into the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown situation. Tatum and Brown are both under 40% from the field. They're under 30% from three in both games. They are 12 of 48 from deep. This is absolutely just baffling to me. I have no idea what's going on with those two. And now you're in a situation where you got to go back to Madison Square Garden. This isn't just cold shooting. This is a collapse in shot creation. Boston's offense has been built on clean looks, but what happens when the playoff defense erases those clean looks? Here's the thing. They haven't erased them. We told you earlier in this podcast, they got 45 clean looks at the basket beyond the 3-point line. They just didn't hit them. And you can say whatever it is that you want to say about that situation. You can say, well, shot variance. You can say, oh, and I'm not even saying they got tight and that the moment's too big. That's not what I'm saying. They just did not execute. And I don't understand why. I wish I had better analysis for you. But sometimes we just don't know what goes on internally. Sometimes we just don't know what's inside a man's heart. And I am not saying that Boston is soft. Shouts out to my guy Kazim on the Ringer Wrestling podcast on the Masked Man Show, because he did call Boston. He called him out. And he didn't call him just soft. He went wrestling heel. He went, they are SAWFT. Soft. That is what Kazim had to say. Now, I'm telling you that, hey, you're looking at a situation where Jason Tatum played in the Olympics. He came right out of that, went into, and you'll say, well, he didn't play that much in the Olympics. I got you. But whatever. Kristaps Porzingis is not there. We have a illness that we can't even fix. And OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are the guys that we thought they were going to be. I remember at the start of the season when this whole thing got put together, we kept on asking about Mitchell Robinson. When is Mitchell Robinson coming back? And then they got to January. Mitchell Robinson was not back. Well, Mitchell Robinson is back now. And this defense is not just stifling them. It has put them in straitjackets. I think Boston is talking to themselves now. The voices are loud. It is going nuts. Check this out. Offensive rating without Kristaps Porzingis, 92.1. 3-point shooting without Kristaps Porzingis, 24.7. Rim attempts are down by 41% from season average. And just like that, the spacing collapsed. So you wonder why, right? You wonder why Boston is having these problems. Well, if you don't drive and kick, you got to drive. You got to hit the paint. I'm going to say it. Go ahead, get your alcohol ready. We talk about purposeful paint touches on this podcast a lot. Can you get to the paint and have intentionality when you get there? Can you suck the defense in? Pause. I know you guys are out there making ha ha ha. He said suck. If you can have the defense collapse on you, and then you can kick it out to your shooters, this is the ideal way of what Boston wants to play. But they're not doing it. And they have to get back to being a little more aggressive. So Jason Tatum is going to have to put on his cape and be the Superman that we looked for last year. Remember, we were giving him a hard time even when they were winning. Like, hey, dog, so you're not going to win, like, Eastern Conference Finals MVP? You're not going to win Finals MVP? You talk about you a Kobe disciple and all this other stuff, and you're not going to win? You're not going to take control of these victories and stuff like that? And he was like, nah. We play within the confines of the, of the offense and whatever case may be. Hey, bro, time is of the essence now. They don't have many. You don't have many more time. You're down 2-0. You need to get in the paint, score, get fouled, kick it out to your shooters, let them see the ball go in the bucket, and then let's roll. Because if you don't, you might get swept, bro. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that is not gonna be a good look. That will not be a good look for Jason Tatum, and it damn sure won't be a good look for Jaylen Brown. And somebody, I'm not saying one of those two, but somebody is going to leave the Celtics if they go out 4-0. Somebody significant is going to leave the Celtics if they get swept. Do not win a championship and get swept in the second round. Because the clown will be so on from LA, where I reside. Los Angeles, we like to hate. Did you not see 2024? Did you not see Kendrick Lamar and a lot of his statements that were going on? So Boston, I'm letting you know that right now, I have a lot of love for you. I lived in that city for 15 years. If you don't want to hear the noise, don't get swept by New York. Because you're going to hear it. Jaylen Brown's quote hit different. He said, we're too reliant on the three ball. You don't say. But this isn't new. That's year 3 of the postseason frustration. No mid-post touches, no second side back cuts, no plan B whatsoever. And it's like, we're going to continue to shoot threes. Remember what we talked about earlier in the season. We talked about Joe Mazzulla turned this into a math equation. He wants them to, he says the whole time, we are getting good looks. The processes are working. So they're getting what they wanted. I just think that you should diversify your situation when it's not going well. No timeout late in game 2, collapse. No, there was a ton of mismatch hunting. I'm at a loss of words. This is what I think Boston should look like in game 3. Tatum, get him to the elbow. Get him some touches at the elbow, delay sets, empty side, pick and rolls. Brown, he should be basically a guy who, when Tatum's out, he should be like a primary guy that should get the ball. He should be somebody who should be coming off DHOs and things of that nature. Use Horford, use somebody. But we need to get him a 2-dribble situation and get him aggressive going downhill. Off-ball creation, ghost screens, hammer actions, and back screens. This is the Peyton Pritchards of the world. This is the Drew Holidays of the world. This is the Derek Whites of the world. That's what we kind of need to be seeing. Tight rotations. Let's go with the guys who brung us. I know that we had depth all year in Celtic land. I know we played a lot of people. But it's time to shorten up. I need to see a lot of Holiday, a lot of White, a lot of Jalen Brown, a lot of Jason Tatum. And if Kristaps Porzingis is not going to be there, we're going to need to see Horford. No more Luke Cornett. No more. I don't need to see Luke Cornett. Peyton Pritchard, okay. No more Luke Cornett. The other thing that we need to hit is this. Anybody know what's going on with Draymond? Like, anybody? Did anybody see that? So Draymond in game 2, if you didn't see it, which every social clip on the face of the planet has it, and then he said something after it, and I'll address that in a second. So Draymond has Naz Reid on him on the block. Now Naz Reid is playing aggressive defense like he has been all throughout the playoffs, and he grabs Draymond by the opposite shoulder. Now the arm that is closest to Naz Reid, Draymond kind of goes up for a shot and flails his arms. And in the flail, he pops Naz Reid with basically his forearm, the elbow. And Naz Reid goes to the ground. There's a technical foul. No flagrant, which is weird, right? And then Draymond proceeds to go off. I mean, just go absolutely crazy. And then he, no remorse on that situation. Then after the game, he makes the comment of, the league is trying to portray me as an angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I come from a good family. I raised my family, I have good kids, what have you. I was a good kid. I'm smart, all these things. I'm paraphrasing here. You want to read the whole quote, go do it on The Athletic. Our guy Anthony Slater does a tremendous job with the Golden State Warriors. I highly recommend him in all the work that he does. So that is my shout out to journalism and the people who are doing the good work daily. I don't understand. I've said this so many times in my own personal life. I don't understand people who don't take responsibility for their actions. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I will never get it. And maybe that makes me the asshole. Maybe that does. I don't know. But I've gone through a change in my life. So I'm gonna break it down like that. And listen, we're all different. We're all different. We cut from different cloths, whatever case may be. But at the end of the day, my whole thing is this: is that if you do something wrong, you got to make an amends for it. Now, that amends could be like a physical amends, like you really are out here doing something. It could be like a delayed amends. It could be like, hey, I can't really help that person, but now I know that is really destructive, and I don't want to do that or inflict that type of situation onto somebody else. But you have to own up for the things that you do. And if you're not doing that, and then it becomes an excuse-based situation, and then when something really actually goes wrong that might really not have anything to do with you, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt as much as you would if you had handled these situations prior to this a little more judiciously. Draymond has kicked people in the balls. He's punched people in the balls. He's choked people out. And I understand. He's 6'5". He's playing against 7'1". He's giving up 7'1" dudes. He's giving up 60 pounds in weight. I understand he has to be way more aggressive than your normal center. I get all of that. But you live on a razor's edge, my guy. But it seems like you go over that edge consistently. And that's the problem. When Steph is coming off the bench and he's hurt and he's coming to get you, say, hey man, calm down. I had somebody in my life back in the day when I was newly sober say to me, Vince, you have impulsivity issues. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Whatever. And I now know what that means. I used to just say stuff. Just say it. Whatever. To get attention, to do this, to do that, whatever. Now, I pray every day to have better communication skills. I pray every day to be able to convey messages better. I pray every day for the opportunity to, communicate on a higher level. I can go hours without talking to a soul. It doesn't make a difference to me. But there used to be a time where I couldn't help myself. I had to break the silence. I had to, because the silence was death to me. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, and this is because of the fact that I didn't feel like enough. And that was the secret that was in my head the whole time, was that I didn't feel like I was enough. Until my breakthrough, until I was delivered, until I turned my life over to Jesus Christ. Now I don't drink. Certain other things doesn't happen anymore. It's great. All these things are great. Right? Took a long time for these things to kick in. It's a work in progress too. And there's a diligence to it. There's a daily self-scouting that goes on. Some days, though, that self-scout, if I'll put it this way, if you have never been in a room, if you haven't played any kind of like organized sports, give you a little bit behind the scenes. They don't talk to everybody just like, hey, you know what? Good try out there. Everything's great. In NFL locker rooms or in NFL meeting rooms on Mondays and Tuesdays, depending on when they meet after the games or whatever, there's a breakdown. And in that breakdown, There is things that you need to clean up. There are things that you need to fix. There are things that you did wrong. And your position coach will sit there and whatever your name is, will say, Player X, what the F were you doing out there? Jesus Christ. I've never seen worse tackling in my life. We could have had a tackling dummy out there better than you. I would have put my damn dog out there. These are the type of things that are said in locker rooms. These are the type of things that are said. The reason why I say all these to be said, or whatever the case may be, is this. Be accountable for what the hell you do. If you out here punching people in the face or whatever, don't sit there and talk about how you are people trying to portray you to be like an angry black man. Don't do that. Because it makes you look stupid. It makes you're not even looking at the point of what is going on. You're just diverting. Lots of diverting. Don't divert. Hey, I'm aggressive. You can say things like, hey, I'm aggressive. I'm sorry. My elbow got high. I'm kind of spastic out there. My energy level is super high. I get riled up. Anything. There's so many things you could say to own up to this situation and be half-hearted or whatever it is. But for you to sit there and basically deny and then to come back and basically shine a light on somebody else and say, oh, they're portraying me as an angry black man. Bro, you just hit somebody in the face. And it's not your first time. We got a laundry list of things you have done. You've been suspended so many times. You've missed finals games because of this. And now here we are. So, you want to talk about why people are the way they are? That we will never know what Draymond is doing. We will never know. I know that he's a brilliant defender. He's one of the best defenders that I've ever seen. I do know that he's one of the smart players as far as IQ, being able to be an offensive initiator for his size and what he does, not being a real shooter or anything like that. It is incredible what he has made himself out to be. And I do understand that you have to play with an edge. But I still need you to acknowledge that you play with an edge, my guy. That you ain't out here like some kind of Tinkerbell. Oh, I'm just, I'm having fun and, boys will be boys. No, dog. This is crazy. Now, people will ask me, Vince, you said that we were going to talk about some draft. You said that we were going to talk about some of these cats that are coming in next year. Is the pod over? No, it's not. So guess what? Here we go. Let's talk about some draft people. Let's talk about some of these prospects that we are about to get into. And the reason why I want to talk about some of the prospects is because of the fact that next week, I want to say by next Friday, we will have our first mock draft. We will have like profiles, what these kids have done, what they're working on. Hopefully we'll have some decently in-depth information. There might be some comparisons. I got some people working on this. They're working diligently. And I want to tell you that the mock will be out by Friday. It might be out earlier, but I'm not going to, I won't guarantee that. But I know we are working feverishly on it, though. I do know we're working feverishly on it. With that being said, let's get into draft buzz. It's replaced baseline buzz because it is draft time. And we need to know about these kids, because these kids might be playing on our favorite NBA teams. And the first person that I want to talk about is this. All right, Jeremiah Fears. Let's talk about the guard you swear is going to be your Summer League MVP in July, and the same guy who might be back in the G League by November. You say, well, what are you talking about, Vince? Isn't he like a top? Yeah, he's small though. First thing that jumps out the screen with Fears is his ability to handle the ball. Fears plays like he's doing dribble tutorials in game. I'm talking snatch back, double skips, paw, hezzy drag to a mid-range leaner. His deceleration, and I want to get into this a second. His deceleration is awesome. He's a tempo guy, but he can't put no pressure on the rim whatsoever. Fears is an elite tempo manipulator. If we're going to be honest, he moves like an old man with 3 ankles taped. Then suddenly he bursts. That deceleration he hits off the ball screen, that's league ready. That's that Trae Young type stuff. So what he does is kind of like Austin Reeves and Trae Young. So he'll come flying off a DHO, right? And then you have the guy who's in trail lock position. As soon as he knows that he's got the ball and he has that guy on his back, he is going to decelerate and stop midstream, and that dude is going to run right into him. It happened so many times as I watched this tape. Now, he has that unique ability, which is good for him. But when you look under the hood, bro doesn't get to the rim enough. He doesn't love contact. His shot diet is like 60% flavor, 40% nutrition. And in today's league, that ain't enough unless your name is Steph Curry. Is your name Steph Curry? You shooting the 3 ball like Steph? Jeremiah Fears? I think not. All right. Pick and roll ball handler. Points off pick and roll. 0.92. That's top 20% in his class. Rim attempts per 40 minutes, 3.8. That is low for a league guard. That's the reason why I am throwing this out to you. Free throw rate, 20.7%. Borderline concerning. It looks like a souped up campaign, basically. Right? That's what it looks like. A more souped up campaign. Or if you want to go old school, it's like Nate Robinson if Nate tried to run a modern offense and watch 40 hours of Tyus Jones tape. The bag is real. The processing speed needs improvement. What does the tape say? If you're a coach, here's what's going to make you both love and lose sleep over Jeremiah Fears. The good possessions are incredible. He's a one-man offense. We talked about the deceleration off those. The floaters look great. He uses screens. He rejects the hedge. He gets downhill, draws the second defender, and he kicks out to his wing. Chef kiss. Boom. Next trip. Step back 3, 17 seconds on the clock. No raw movement. You blink, and he's walking back on defense, and like he didn't do anything to kill the rhythm. I am going to say that I don't know what he's going to be as far as, because again, we're still talking about like 19 and 20-year-old kids here. So the worst of it is that I don't think he's going to be a floor general. I think he's going to be like a off the bench type of player. He could turn into a microwave scorer or a second unit initiator if the playmaking skills come around and he can get into the paint and get some sort of nice layup package where he uses the rim as like a helper to get his shot off. That might be something that he needs to work on. Now, let's get to another guy that I kind of need to talk about. And that person is LeBaron Philon. Motor over metrics, dog mentality in HD. Let's get to it. The tape you love. He shows no fear. No fear whatsoever. His defensive disruption rating is top 3% nationally. Screen navigation. He gets an A on that. Off ball stop frequency 3.3 per 36. Shot diet 48% at the rim, 22% mid range, 30% deep. Okay. Might want to change a couple of those numbers around, but okay. His shot is fine. It's not broken, but it's not elite. But again, that is not the point. He is not going to carry your offense. He is going to intimidate your opposing point guard into 3 of 12 shooting. That is what he is going to do. And those dudes get minutes in the NBA. You know why? C. Jose Alvarado. C. Devion Mitchell. C. Javon Carter. Those guys get minutes. You know why? Because they play like dogs. And if you play some defense like a dog, if you say the ball is yours at all time mentality, you get minutes on the court. Offense, he has a lot of work to do. Okay, if you watch the Bama tape, there were where he fought through 5 screens in one possession. 5 of them. You just love it. He just ran through people. It was great. Now, offensive wise, I mean, we're asking a lot if we're asking him to be a lead guard, but I do think he can be a really good bench player for you. He's 6'4", which gives me some pause that he could break into your first unit, as far as that's concerned. But his offense is not what's going to get him on the court. It is going to be his defense that gets him on the court. And my guy plays defense like, yo, he is hungry and it is dinner time. Right? Now, a controversial pick or a controversial prospect in this draft is Thomas Sorber or Georgetown. Thomas Sorber is a 6'11", like traditional big. This is like old school bigs. This is borderline like what are we doing here? The last of a dying breed. Sorber is a throwback in the best way. He's 6'10", 255 pounds, of defensive positioning, vertical discipline, and low maintenance productivity. You're not getting a switchable 5 or anything like that. You're not getting trailer 3s. You're getting a grown ass man who protects the rim, sets legal screens, and never beats himself. He's like Greg Monroe downloaded Al Horford basketball brain. Post defense, solid. Verticality, excellent. Fouling, minimal. The guy just understands his job, and he does it to the best of his ability. And here's the best part. Dude's just 20. Just turned. So, he's young. Rim field goal percentage, 44.1%. That's some old school Georgetown center type stuff right there. Okay? When you see under 50% at the rim, that's like elite black hole type stuff. His block and steal rate, 7.8%. Fouls per 40, because they played the college game, right? 2.1. 2.1 per 40 minutes is what he's averaging. So he's a smart defender. This is the anti-Draymond Green, by the way. We ain't just giving up silly. Oh, this is anti-Jaren Jackson Jr. You know my troubles with Jaren Jackson Jr. I just foul. I just foul all the time. I love to foul. Ridiculous. All right. And now the pick and roll coverage is the other thing that we kind of need to talk about too. 0.83 points per possession. Elite. So why is he not? Because he's not what you want now. You want somebody who's a switchable big. You want this guy who's gonna be. He's a drop coverage big. He knows his way, his lot in life. He understands it. So there's only certain systems that he's gonna fit in. He doesn't have scheme versatility. This is one of the reasons why you can see him possibly falling like out of the lottery. And one of these real smart teams back in the 20s is going to find this kid. And if they have a need for a drop coverage center, don't let Bud get a job and then see this kid somewhere. Because if they do, I'm telling you right now, somebody going to get a real good one. We love Thomas Sorber here. We loved him early in the season when he was getting buzzed like top 10. For some reason, it's kind of falling off. They wanted him to be like more of an Evan Mobley type of person, and he's not. And that's okay. Because there's so many things that he does do, and there's so many things that he does do well for me to sit here and say, I believe this kid is going to have a 10-year career at least in the NBA, barring injury, and he's going to be productive for you. And I think, personally, he's going to be a starter. I think within 2 years, the kid will be a starter depending on what team he goes with. I just have this feeling about this kid. You can put him behind another offensive center, and he's perfect as a bench big. But if you start him, you need shooting at every position around him, because his game isn't going to space the floor at all. He's going to balance it. So he's going to provide your now, I know they got multiple picks. I'll tell you a team that I like for him. I like San Antonio. You imagine what Wemby and Thomas Sorber would look like if you had those two dudes. I'm trying to think of another team that I would like him for. Now, Lakers don't have the pick, but he would be a good center for Luka. I'm trying to think. Utah could use him for sure. For sure. And now we're going to get into a big man that's completely different than our guy, Thomas Sorber, and that's Asa Newell. And people will sit there and say, well, Asa Newell is kind of more of a forward than he is a big guy, and I would agree with you on that. The most balanced modern big in this class is Asa Newell. He's at least the one they talk about the most. He's not the highest jumper. He's not blocking 6 shots a night, but he moves like a wing, guards forward position, and he makes everything look easier for his teammates. Asa is one of those guys where if you don't watch film, you don't get it. You need context. You need nuance. And you need to understand how valuable, not flashy, the defense is. Here's the secret about Newell. He doesn't chase blocks, he prevents actions. There's a difference between a defender who reacts and one who anticipates. Asa is the second type. He drops when he's supposed to. He switches out without panic. And when you run a floppy or horn set to get a mismatch on him, he doesn't give up. He doesn't give in. And that's rare, especially coming from somebody who's 19 years of age. Switch coverage success, top 15% among all fours. Foul rate, just 2.3 per 40. That's still elite. Contest frequency, 6.7 a game. Rim defensive field goal percentage, 47.8. By the way, he's got 2 less inches than Sorber. Sorber's 6'11". This dude's 6'9". His frame is NBA ready. He's 6'9". He has a 7-foot wingspan. He's approximately 215 pounds. I think he's about 220 now. But it's not just the tools. It's how he uses them. His closeouts are under control. His hips are fluid. He can guard your bigs in the post and still get out and put a hand up on a pull-up too. And he's never looks rushed at all. Even when he is plays break down, Asa floats to the right spot. He just has an instinct. He has a knack for finding where he's supposed to be. He's not explosive, but he's precise. Think Jaden McDaniels light with a calmer motor and more switch comfort. He's a low usage guy. You're not going to have to just feed him as far as that's concerned. I love that about him. He's okay with being the guy. He doesn't need post touches. He doesn't need the ball to prove a point. He runs, he screens, he rotates. He just fits. He's a connecting piece. Catch and shoot 3-pointers, 31.2%. Mechanics are clean. Short roll decision efficiency, top 30%. Turnover rate, 10.4%. Low for a big. And his pick and roll screens, he sets decent screens. I'll give him a B+ on that. There's not a lot that he can't do. If you put Asa on a team with guards who control tempo, he thrives. If you put him in a motion-heavy help recover system, he becomes a plus defender day one. Man, Orlando, another big. I like it for him. I like him a lot. We're not going to spend a lot of time on Carter Bryant. I want to give him more love. I need to really look at his tape, but I've been looking at him, and I've done a little mock-up on him. So this is what I got to say about my guy. Carter Bryant is somebody that I was really looking at Arizona, trying to check it out, trying to understand what it was. He floats into pockets on offense. He closes space fast on defense, and he understands where the next pass is going before the ball gets there. He's not just feel. That's discipline. That's repetition. That's NBA ready IQ. Deflections per 36, 3.2. Contest rate on closeout, 85.3. That is excellent. Okay, synergy is great. I love it. Defense activity without fouling, 10% among wings. He's not flashy. He's functional, and you need one Carter Bryant on every playoff roster. This is the same thing that Bill Simmons talks about. Hey, can this dude give me 10 to 12 minutes of productive play on the court while my star is resting? Carter Bryant can do that, and he has enough on his shot. His jumper looks mechanically sound. It's not there yet, but it looks mechanically sound. Well, he is not lost on defense, which will get him on the court, which will buy him more time for the jumper to come around. And then there's all the connective pieces that he does. I like Carter Bryant. I think he's going to be a really good player. Now, you could tell me that he is the fourth guy on a playoff contending team. You can tell me that he is the seventh guy. He's the seventh guy in a rotation. You can tell me a lot of things about Carter Bryant, and I would believe them. But the one thing that you cannot tell me about Carter Bryant is this. He's going to be in the league 3 or 4 years, and then we're never going to hear from him again. That is something that you cannot tell me. This is one of those good old school Pac-12 dudes that just stay in the league for 10 to 12 years, and you just go, he still got a job. A la Kyle Anderson. Listen, way more athletic, way, whatever. But the thing they have in common is the cerebralness of their game, their basketball IQ, and their ability to anticipate where the ball is going before it even gets there. Both of them have it. Both of them play with an edge of tenacity. And I'm talking about not like over the edge. It's kind of like, hey, man, I am not to be trifled with. Okay? Like, this is not going to be an easy day for you. I'm not going to be intimidated by who you are and how many Instagram followers you got and all this other bull crap. I am here to play basketball. I am here to guard your face. And if you don't like it, well, you and I can have that discussion now, or we can have it later in the game. Whatever it is that you need to do, my boy. But I will be here the duration of the time that I'm on the court. So there is that. We love Carter Bryant. We think he's going to be a real solid pro. Those are some of the guys that we kind of looked at. We will be doing more and more of this as we get closer to the draft. And again, I tell you this. We will have a draft board by Friday. We are working diligently on this, and it will happen. So keep it locked here for that. And on a Feel Good Friday, the last note that I want to leave you guys with is this. Phoenix, we talked about the ownership. We talked about also the Dallas Mavericks this year. Those have been kind of like my two punching bags, I guess, for the season, right? The one thing that I do want to say is this, is that James Jones deserves better in Phoenix. And I'm not saying that Matt Ishbia can't hire whoever he wants to hire. I wonder out loud, and maybe it might be disrespectful to Matt Ishbia. I'm not sure. I'm not certain, but I am wondering out loud. What was so wrong with the team that you had before you got there? Like, I understand Kevin Durant is awesome, and I'm not, no shade on Kevin. You get him whatever you can. My question, though, is that then you double down with the Bradley Beal situation, and, you continue to double down, and then you traded a highly wanted 2031 pick for 3 really insignificant picks that are going to be late first round picks. I just don't understand the plan, Matt. I just don't understand the plan. And now you're telling me that Brian Gregory understands the plan. Again, just be able to illustrate to me what the North Star is, and then let's go. Then I can at least try to follow you here on that situation. But James Jones is a veteran NBA man for many a year. He toiled playing in, off the bench and whatever the case may be, carried a lot of respect around the league for his professionalism and how he helped out the young cats as he was getting to the end of his career and stuff like that. and then went into the role of, player evaluator and went into that. The thing that I find interesting with James Jones is that he worked his way up through the whole situation. And again, Brian Gregory might be able to do an excellent job. I don't know. I don't. I got to do more research on this guy. But you tell me what James Jones didn't do for you, or what you asked him to do that he didn't pull off for you. And then you tell me why he is no longer the VP of player personnel. Because I am sure that... Because does anybody remember how the KD trade went down? This is a piece that I want people to remember. James Jones was running point on that situation. They asked for... At first, it was Mikal Bridges and all your picks, right? Matt Ishbia was the one who came in and said, "Oh no, it was actually Cam Johnson and all your picks," and they wanted Mikal Bridges. And James Jones was hesitant. He was like, "I don't know about that one. Like, that just seemed like a bridge too far," right? Matt Ishbia comes in and goes full less need. Fuck those picks. Fuck Mikal Bridges. I don't care what we got to get rid of. Kevin Durant is going to be a Phoenix Sun. I get that. But you had nothing left in the cupboard, and this had to work. And now it doesn't, and now we're blaming James Jones for this? My God, you need to look in the mirror, because I don't think James Jones has a lot to do with this situation. I think Matt Ishbia has a lot to do with this situation. And that is all we got for Feel Good Friday. I want to thank my producer, Soraya. I like to thank Vance. Hey, good looking. Playboy, appreciate you. I want to go ahead also and tell you guys that we will be back on Tuesday. We got a good pod for you then. We will be continuing to monitor these playoff situations. We will continue to look at some of the outstanding basketball that will be going on this weekend. We love the games. We love the players. We love the moments. We love the dunks. We love the blocks and the steals. And we love when coaches go absolutely crazy on the sideline when they have no idea what their team is doing. And we will be watching all of it this weekend for you the audience. And we will see you on Tuesday. But before we get out of here, we leave you with this. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, push you forward, and remind you of who you are. If you have people like that in your life, celebrate them. Text them, FaceTime them. If you're in their general vicinity, give them a hug. The most important thing is let them know that they matter. That's the most important thing right there. Now, because if you do all those things, growth hits different when you're surrounded by love, support, and real ones. And let me tell you something. If you build a roster like that, we got a place for you here at Front Runner Podcast Collective. We'll keep a seat open for you as always. I would like to thank again my producer. I would like to thank again the audience for hanging with us. And by the way, to the audience, thank you. Our little podcast has hit every continent on this planet. That's not lost on me. So if you're enjoying this podcast, thank you so much. We do it for you, and we love doing it. And if you love it, hopefully you will find other people who will love it. So be a friend, tell a friend about the podcast, because if you are a friend and you're being a friend and telling someone about the podcast, it might change their life. Shout out to Pat McAfee. We stealing all the stuff from you, dog. Not all of it, because we keep it super real on some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Y'all love the football. We love the basketball. We do our thing. You do your thing. And guess what? We'll see you back on this feed on Tuesday. Deuces.